The whole story?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can tell the whole story.
I think people are moving away from the high-profile evening venue style and wanting something a little bit more relatable.
We've got a number of good pubs, we've got a number of good restaurants here, but something outdoor air and funky is needed, we think. And when we saw this, it screamed that.
We lack a little bit of a sort of casual, relaxed, fun drinking or social experience.
Bendigo also lacks a lot of beer garden. A lot of beer gardens are rooms to the corner of the bar that are all glass walled up and not very inviting.
More people moving away from Melbourne, coming to Bendigo who are sort of tree changers or who are in their 20s or in their early 30s who want to experience that sort of stuff, don't want to go out and get blind and go to a nightclub, but like to go to a cool, interesting bar.
220 square metres of vacant land with a tree and a few weeds.
How random is that?
That's random.
One day we were up on the roof of Ray White and Steve looked down and said, "Wow, look at that little area down there, that'd be pretty cool."
Yes, it's as close to the centre of the CBD as you could potentially get, but it's also still very, very private.
These sort of random pop-up bars, and they're the best places to go. You know, places down alleys, downstairs, knock on the door 3 times type places, and that's sort of what we've replicated here, is going through the most random of entrances. Thanks, Jesse.
Steve approached me with an idea to utilise the space, and I already knew it was here, but never really envisioned it being used for anything like that.
When we were originally introduced to it as the secret garden, it was very intriguing and thought it'd be quite different, and I think just the setup itself will make it quite different.
I think the joy of this space is that it's kind of inspired itself by being so framed up the way it is, and so a lot of its inspiration has actually come from standing in here just imagining how it could possibly look.
Try to keep things as open as possible, I think, was always the idea.
Yeah.
So we have an adaptable space.
And in a way, it kind of blurs the line between public land and private land. We want the public to be able to see it as a space that they can utilise for a multitude of purposes.
Making sure that it's a place that people are going to feel relaxed and comfortable to hang out for 1, 2, 3, 4 hours.
It's definitely breaking the mould from a hospitality venue point.
The traditional pub as we knew it in the 90s is gone, and the way of operating needs to change. Yeah, we've got, say, 52 pubs in Bendigo, but 80% of them still operate the same way they did 30 years ago.
We've seen massive growth with craft beer over the last probably 3 years.
There are a few places now putting on some good craft beers, but nothing with this sort of atmosphere, this sort of space.
All the directors have a real sort of there's nothing I can't do attitude.
I suppose having those four directors with different skill sets and capabilities really helps you know, it spreads the load a little bit as well.
Yeah. I think the fact that we are all very different and have diverse backgrounds is a true attribute to the directorship. We have a like-mind vision, but the skill set is quite broad amongst us.
We can all have 4 different opinions, but we only need 10 minutes to get to a resolution very quickly, which is really good.
You know, and you've got guys like Chris and Steve that have been out there putting so much effort into it. Jesse's obviously got a great background in hospitality. Rory provides something.
They're pretty open to suggestions, which is a good thing, I think.
It's probably a good mix of guys. They probably could have done with a female, but no, that's fine.
We wanted as much involvement right from the start from the community as possible, and I think it just made sense that if we had investors or shareholders, it's a way of engaging the community at that next level.
So there was an information session in town with beers, and that their initial prospectus there, so I had a look at that and I thought, this is really cool. I want to be involved in this.
Gives people a chance to have a piece of Bendigo, have a tangible piece of Bendigo.
The directors have involved everyone, like all the shareholders, they're involving them throughout the whole process. And I think that's a really, really great way to get people not just to, I guess, invest money, but to be part of the whole process.
I think seems a fairly diverse group, so it brings in a whole range of different sort of networks around Bendigo, which will be good for it.
Everyone's got a healthy sense of ownership over it.
All of the shareholders are absolutely committed to Bendigo, and they're backing in where it's going, how it's emerging and changing. And on that basis, we love it. We just want to see continual improvement for this city.
What he said.
So whether it's providing a space for like young mums at Bendigo or other community groups to come and congregate and get a coffee off Jesse during the day, that's sort of where I see we could play a community benefit.
There's in the order of 70 plus major events throughout the year, so more than one major event per week in Bendigo. Not to forget all of the community events like the regular comedy nights or the open mic night. It's
biggest morning tea. Like there's a mountain of opportunity that the space could be used for.
Exactly,
really, isn't it?
And we want to be a canvas for that.
Just creates that different atmosphere that people know that, geez, we might go next week, there might be something different. So let's keep going back.
I think it'll make a massive impact on Bendigo, that's for sure. I don't think there's anything else that I've seen in Bendigo that comes close to this sort of setup.
We've got an opportunity to be that corridor, so you can catch a train up from Melbourne, you can stop at Wood End, 5-minute walk to Holgate Brewery, get back on, go through Castlemaine, go to the Public Inn, there's a couple of good breweries there, and you get back on the train, come to Bendigo, and you've got a 3-minute walk down to Handlebar, and we'll have some of the best local beers on tap there as well.
Physically and visually, it's really nice to see something come together that has been in the works for so long and not to have to use so much imagination to describe the place anymore.
I was stoked when they started digging holes and trenches and stuff. I was just like, yeah, trenches, yeah, pipes in the ground. And I was showing my girlfriend photos and she's like, yeah, great.
Physical work, that's an interesting one. My body's not necessarily really built for physical work, so that's been
my body could use a bit more physical work.
It's been an interesting exercise.
Yeah, but it's the best thing is it's fun.
It's a very basic human satisfaction to be involved in something manual and say, I helped with that or I built that.
It is exciting. Every time you walk in, there's something else has sort of popped up.
It's come in leaps and bounds over the last sort of month or so I think they've really chipped in.
In the last 3 weeks, as structures have gone up, it's been really good to be able to start spreading the word with people that, it's going to open, it's going to be this great concept, and it's something you also believe in.
This is a humble space, and it's a space that you can embrace as a person in Bendigo.
Bendigo, you're going to love this.